Hey there. Hey there, champ. Thinking about your intro? Yeah, I'm trying to plan out what I'm gonna do. Try to make this more interesting so people click on the video and they want to watch the whole thing. Have you thought about kind of being interesting by yourself? It's an hour-long video. No one's gonna... Who knows? Nobody has any idea what is gonna be interesting. So what are you gonna do? I was thinking maybe the same as last time, but like, I don't know. Maybe that's like a little cringe, don't you think? I mean, don't you think this is kind of cringe at least a little bit? Welcome back to another episode of Burgcraft. Today, we embark on an incredible journey, a necessary journey. Part 1 of preparing this area to stop being so fucking ugly. It's horrific. Look, like, it's not good, all right? We got villager stuff, we got the terrain's all a bit of a mess, and that's not gonna do. We need to have this place. Like, what is this? This thing. We got to get rid of this. What we're going to do, we're embarking on the journey first through supplies. We need things for lights. We need lanterns. We need frog lights. We also need copper. Now, I'm a big fan of copper, generally speaking. I put it in everything. But we need different stages. And for the different stages, we need honeycomb. Now, if you've been an eagle-eyed viewer, you will notice that there's a couple of structures around that they weren't here last time. What happened to me was I was recording. I recorded a whole playthrough of me building some structures, and then OBS crashed while I was recording it, and it broke and deleted all of it. So there's going to be a little bit of this footage that's out of order, but we're all going to pretend that that didn't happen, that everything's fine, and the order that everything is presented is the factual order in which it happened, and we will ignore that stuff for now. We'll ignore all that. What I'm going to show you first is what I actually recorded. I did it block by block, basically just kind of going through, making this. This is a honey farm. You've got bees. Now, I went through and I built this and just kind of showed the process. And that's what got corrupted, was just making this. And it ruined my life. So I just did like a bunch of off-camera resource grabbing and portal making and things like that. What I will do, though, is for those who are curious, show you how this thing works. So maybe you could build your own, because honey can actually be pretty difficult to gather reliably, and unless you're going around sitting underneath a bee's nest, that is ridiculous. So what I did to get these bee's nests is I went looking. I just went flying around birch forests, cherry blossoms, and looked for bees. Waited until night until they all got collected. Picked up the bee's nests with a silk touch axe, so I could keep all of the bees. Transported them here, and then some of them were a little bit more empty, so I bred them up so that they are all full. Now, how this works. Let's go up top here. It kind of looks like a mess, but you just got to bear with me here. So, in order to get honey, what we need is we need the bees' nests, and we need them to get something for pollen. That's what these flowering azalea leaves are down here for. They just pop out, look at it, pollinate, go back in. Now we need a way of automatically getting what we need from it. Honey bottles and honeycomb. In this, half of these dispensers are all just filled with shears. The other half is filled with bottles. So, in order to have this done automatically for us, we have a comparator here. So, that wasn't supposed to happen. Why did that happen? You're supposed to go in the hoppers. Why did it spit out like that? Oh god, I wonder how much I've lost. What's happening here? Anyways. So, What you need to do when you're making one of these farms is you want to have a dispenser that automatically does things. So put shears in, it'll automatically shear it. Get you the honeycomb, water bottles, the glass bottles, they will automatically turn into honey bottles. We need the dispenser to go off when the bee's nest is full. So we use a comparator. Comparators, as talked about before, they give information about whatever they're attached to. So behind it is the bee's nest, and it will power on and give a signal strength equal to how full the bee's nest is. If we look on the F3 screen, on the right-hand side, about halfway down, it says honey level equals 0. There's no honey in it, so it's giving off a power of 0. It's full when it gets to honey level 5. When it's at honey level 5, this will fully power the comparator and hit this dispenser. Every amount of honey filled before that won't be strong enough. So if it gets a power of 1, it powers this block, which in turn powers this redstone dust right here that I'm laying on. And we'll do tutorial face like so. Perfect. So you can see this is actually powered now. Powers this block, which powers this redstone dust. Redstone dust, it gives off power for as many blocks as the power going into it. So if it's power 1, it'll only power up to here. Power 2 goes up here. Power 3 goes up to the glass. Needs the glass here because we want to wrap the redstone around because it's transparent. It doesn't block off the signal. It gets to 4 here and 5 at this last place here. This powers the block underneath it, powers the dispenser, activates it, shears or bottle goes through, we get something automatically. We just have a row of hoppers underneath it to collect it where that honey was supposed to go, and that just goes into the chests. And we have honeycomb, as you can actually see. You can estimate the amount of time that I have it's been since I emotionally recovered from having my shit deleted. Now, there's a lot of other stuff going on here. A lot of the extra stuff that I'm showing you, not necessary. If you wanted, you could just have these hoppers go into chests, and then you just get honey bottles in here, and you'd have to manually craft it. But I wanted to have something fancy. I wanted to have there's an auto crafter in here. I wanted it so that when it fills up with honey bottles, it would automatically craft it into a honey block. Put the honey block over here, and then spit the bottle out and return it. One of the things that's really obnoxious about these designs is up here where you have the glass bottles, they have to be full. If there is any space, the glass bottle will go out. If you only had like one glass bottle in here, for example, it would go out, pick up the honey, and then just get picked back up by the dispenser. And you just have honey bottles in here. That's no good, so it's got to be filled with glass bottles. Once you are like crafting the honey blocks yourself, then it also becomes a kind of a pain. I have like an automatic, like when I made a honey farm on our multiplayer server, I do it manually. I pull out the honey bottles, craft it, and put it into a system that returns all the bottles. I wanted to see if I could do all that automatically. So, how does that work? Go into the back here. We have this crafter here. This crafter, as you can see, there's a honey bottle in it already. Ooh, 2. That has the recipe for a honey block. Whenever it fills up automatically, it will craft the honey block, but it also spits out 4 bottles. We want the honey block to go separate and the 4 bottles to go elsewhere. So that spits it into this hopper. Below, we have this kind of goofy setup here. This circuit that I'm standing on, just in the straight line, this is an item filter. Just a regular item filter that I buried. But the way these work, is you put a bunch of junk items into the other slots, and then the item that you want, so that when a honey block arrives in this hopper, it will get sucked down into the slot and then carry on throughout the rest. But it won't let the glass bottles through. And these item filters are very basic ones. Comparator, reading out. Once it gets powered up enough, we actually have this redstone torch under here, which actually locks this hopper here. But once it gets powered enough, it unlocks it and allows whatever's in this first slot to go through. So just a normal item filter going on there. How does the auto crafting work? Auto crafting, we have our regular auto crafter that's accepting the honey bottles here. And this is a crafter with everything except for one slot powered on. Outside of this crafter, we have a comparator in subtract mode. What a subtract mode comparator will do is it will say, okay, whatever signal is coming out from the backside here, whatever signal strength, take it and then subtract whatever is going into the side. So if this was giving off right now, because it has a it has 8 slots filled, power of 8 is going through. And here we have 8 slots filled. So it's saying subtract 8 from 8 and then output the rest. That's 0, so it doesn't power. When this fills up, it goes to 9, powers this block, powers this dust repeater into this block, which will signal the crafter to go off. Which is it's a little bit goofy and weird, but does the trick. Over here on the side, it's actually kind of hard to tell. But this is there's a dropper there, which has this hopper pointing into it. All the glass bottles will go into here, and this is a smart system. So whenever a glass bottle gets put into it, it powers itself on and spits it into this item stream. Item stream goes up into those hoppers, and that returns the glass bottles to the dispensers up top. All of this is an extra. Like, all of this stuff on the side here, you don't need this. If you wanted to build this yourself, you could do it manually. I just didn't want to. The other thing that I wanted was an on-off switch. On our multiplayer server, I ended up having the problem where, like, for the most part, I just don't need that much honey, and this will just kind of go passively all the time. You can build it in the nether, and it'll work constantly, because bees only work during the day. It's always daytime in the nether. I don't need that. I just don't need it. I do not need that output. I'm not going to need enough honey blocks to make that be necessary, and I'm definitely not going to need enough honeycomb for it. I ran into the problem where I had so much and I can't do anything with it over time. So I wanted an on-off switch, and I've gone for pretty low tech. That lever powers a redstone line to all these pistons. When I hit the button, when I hit the lever, sorry, it will push all the pistons out, and it'll actually break the redstone signal. So now, as you can see, it's no longer connected. So it doesn't matter how filled the bees' nests are, they won't deliver the signal to turn on the dispensers. Turn back on, just comes back up. Am I under attack? I swear to God, this place is dangerous. So yeah, that is the honey farm, dual purpose. It's expandable too. If you wanted to just get more bees, you can make your own bees nests, or just go and get as many bees as you want, and you can continue tiling it for as long as you really want for whatever your needs are. Very simple. It only takes like a few minutes to build once you actually have the materials, and you don't need all this crap. One thing that probably also not obvious is you see these hoppers. So what happens when honey block gets crafted? Glass bottles and honey ends up in here. Glass bottles go to the dropper, honey goes through, and then it follows this hopper chain in the back to this chest here. You might be wondering, why are there bamboo blocks on it? So basically, any hopper that's kind of exposed to open air will continuously check whether there's an item in it. It'll keep looking for stuff over and over and over again. And because this is going to probably be a pretty technical area, and it's probably going to have a bunch of farms and stuff, that can start lowering your performance quite heavily, especially as the machines get more complicated. These hoppers here that are in something, they aren't looking because you can't throw stuff into them. So these are good. So you need something to kind of, if you put a solid block on top of a hopper, it will stop looking for stuff and it basically can reduce lag. Back in the day, you had to use only some blocks would actually turn off hoppers. That's why you might have seen like fancy redstone contraptions that had a bunch of composters on them, because they just put composters on and that would stop the hoppers from looking and reduce lag. Now in 1.21, you don't have to. Any solid block will do. Can't use glass. You have to use something solid. Production of honey bottles is pretty slow because you have to the nest has to get pollinated 5 times before a honey bottle will come out of it, so it can take a little bit. But I do want to see if we can just like demonstrate the bottles going up and then edit that in so it looks smooth and you wouldn't even notice. Bottles. And there are more complicated designs in this. I actually don't know where this like kind of original design came from. I'll be 100% honest. Like I'm definitely not claiming this is my own. This is somebody's come up with this. I just don't remember who. It's pretty simple. There are fancier designs, more efficient designs out there. There's some other ones that also actually combine this with like a villager auto farm setup. So like you have a section with a villager in it. The bees pollinate the crops. So like they'll put like wheat in there or something, and that will they'll make the wheat grow faster, and the villager picks it up, and then you still keep harvesting it. I don't care. Once again, I want to have some farms and some things that make what I need, but I don't need them to be the most efficient. So another thing that I did do while I was kind of like gathering resources and doing some like off-camera mining kind of stuff was I had to look around at some of the other areas that existed probably within like a 5,000 block radius of where we are, and try to think about, because one of the things I've been mentioning was like, I don't think this is going to be my forever home. So I was like, well, where is it? Where is it going to be? And I looked around at places, I looked at all these different things, and I think I've realized, like, the places that look really cool, like on mountains and stuff, are actually really difficult to build farms and cool things on. It's one problem I actually ran into in my multiplayer world, is that, like, I'm often having to flatten out these. You find like really cool terrain, and then you have to flatten out a bunch of it for whatever build or farm that you're working on, and then it becomes this massive landscaping project to make it look like somewhat normal. And sometimes I can't even be bothered doing it, so I've always been left with these ugly squares that I have to like worry about. And for this, this I might change this, right? I might change my plan as we go, because who knows how long we'll be doing this crap for. But I'm thinking of actually staying here instead, because I was like, okay, I need picturesque views, right? We need it to be like a cool looking place. I realized I wanted somewhere flat because I wanted to experience that. Some place that's a little bit easier to actually build the projects that I want to build. And I've never really done it. I've always built on like rocky surfaces and mountainous surfaces. So I was thinking, let's try something a little bit different. And realistically, I think this place is actually kind of cool, because like, if we kind of zoom out a little bit and look at it, it's this weird little like river island-ish thing with all these like mountains in the distances, different biomes in the distance, different things like that. And I feel like this is just kind of cool by itself. So I'm thinking in terms of building stuff, I'm gonna do it here. When I first started, playing Minecraft, I had the same kind of idea as I did now, where I was like, well, I feel like one thing that would be the most important is getting resources for food, you know? Have food. As much food as possible, so I don't have to worry about it. And then that's when afterwards I was kind of informed, because I didn't know how Minecraft worked. I was informed that there's actually a limit. Poppy. There's a limit to how much stuff you can have in one area, how many entities and how many animals. So I had like hundreds of cows and chickens and pigs and all this stuff everywhere. And entering my area became fucking incomprehensible. And everyone being like, yeah, that's actually a problem. You can't do that. I think about that every time I see chickens now. Because there's so many chickens. I currently have friendly sounds off because I find the sound of chickens and cows and stuff when I'm doing stuff around here just to be so aggravating. Probably not good for the realism, but you know. So the very first project in Operation Make This Place Not Fucking Ugly has already been completed. It's this. Honeycomb for all the copper that we have. Being able to wax it in different stages. I've got some ideas for how I want some buildings to look. And I think it's going to look really nice. Not to mention, I have a problematic amount of copper. There it is. Look at this. I didn't even grind it all up yet because I was just like, oh god, this is going to be a problem. So step 1, honey farm, complete. The second step in this operation is a Froglight Farm. Lanterns are great, but I need more lighting options. And because getting sea lanterns is a little bit out of my reach at the moment, or even shroom lights or anything, we want just some nice, soft colored lights. We can just, I adore frog lights, and they open up a lot of like building decisions that you can make that just look really nice. And I want to get some, and I need some. And we're going to have to go for that. One of the portals on the roof connects to a swamp. So we're going to have to go get some frogs. And that's going to be appearing here in a second. And we're going to gloss over the fact that I've already collected them. And that this is technically out of order because I lost the footage before this. Before that, I would have explained all this context. So when you see this, we're going to pretend that I just did it. Wow, it's crazy. Look, we have all these frogs. And they're not definitely sitting in a building that I had here during the intro that you would have seen repeatedly. Isn't that something? We have frogs. We have some of each type. There are 3 types of froglights, and they are made depending on the type of frog. So this farm that we're going to build is going to have 4 frogs of each kind. So we can have a little bit of an even distribution. 4 greens, 4 yellows, and our purples, which are in that hut over there. I didn't know where I was going to be putting the farm yet because I didn't want to bring them over yet, but they're over there. Because this is actually like, other than the fact that I'm building this farm and I'm like saying like, oh, this is like the easy way to do it. Froglights are actually an incredibly strange and rare resource when you think about it. Because if you are, if you're like a Minecrafter who doesn't kind of mess with this stuff as much, you might think, what the hell is a froglight? How do you even get those? Now, froglights are created when a frog eats a magma cube, like the little ones. It eats one, and it will spit out a froglight, depending on the type of frog that it is. Now, normally, the only place that you can get reliable magma... Is this the way? I picked out a spot, and I don't remember where it was. No, it's not. Okay, well, shaming back. Right. Okay. Like 10 inches from the portal. Got it. So normally it can be pretty difficult because if you don't have access to the nether roof, the only way you can do that is if you find a magma spawner. And those are only in treasure room bastions, which those can be a little bit hard to find and also extraordinarily deadly. This is foreshadowing for later. So that's kind of a pain. But if you have the nether roof, you can actually make a spawning platform just for the magmas up here. The only requirement is like we are here. We are in, if we look at the biome on the left-hand side, we are in the basalt deltas. We can actually free cam downwards and see. We are above a basalt delta. And even just looking around, these magma cubes spawning like crazy. This is the best place to spawn them. So we can make a platform, basically, where only magmas spawn. Where am I? Here I am. We can make a platform here where only magmas spawn, and we can basically build a little farm that feeds them to our frogs. So I'm going to get the materials for that, and then at this point, we're going to go to a time lapse of me building it. Oh, before I start building, I did actually forget something. The farm I'm going to be using is designed by Radical Elder on YouTube. It's the same one that I have built in the multiplayer server. It's fantastic, and it makes more lights than I could possibly use, so I'm going to go with that one. It's also very nice. It's also simple. So with some kind of easier to get materials, with the exception of the powdered snow that I'm going to need. But it is otherwise fantastic, and the link will be in the description for you to look at it. Okay, now we'll go. As we can see, we are operating at full capacity. So, there's the finished product. It's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of complicated stuff to it. I'm up there. So the way this works is we have a couple spawning platforms that are big enough for the magmas to spawn in, but not ghasts. The only things that can spawn in the basalt delta. So this makes it so we have all these magma cubes. They try to attack the iron golems. They huff it. End up in this. This is powdered snow. So they fall through, and that will eventually damage them. It's one block above, so the biggest cubes die, and then the next wave, the medium cubes die, and then the small ones just sort of flop around. And the frogs just go to town, eating them. Making the little lights, which are all picked up by the minecarts underneath. So since I finished this, I haven't actually done a lot of AFKing. I've probably stood there for maybe 10 minutes total, and then whatever's collected while I've just been here. And we're getting lots of the lights. It's crazy effective. A very short amount of time, and you get all of these lights. And you can pretty much AFK here for like an hour or two, and this will be fine. You can tell by the build-up. You can add more frogs if you'd like. If you only wanted one type of the frog lights as well, you can change what kind of frogs you want. You can add more frogs, and this is also expandable if you're on like a larger server, but it just works so well with just these two platforms. You really don't need much else. So stand here for a little bit. All sorts of lights. Perfect. So yeah, that's a successful mission. Now, I did have a couple hiccups, which you might have noticed in the time lapse, where basically you got to be pretty precise where the floor is. I accidentally made the floor one block too high for the iron golems, so they came out, and they eventually fell into the powdered snow and were just sitting there shivering. I was like, okay, well, I don't want them to like take a swing and like at a magma cube and accidentally hit a frog. So I tried to shoot a flaming arrow at one, not realizing it would blow up the powdered snow. So I had to go get more. But otherwise, this has been actually a successful, simple build. And these frogs are here, living the best life they can. Hanging out, chilling, gorging themselves on the slimes. All is well. So, the honey farm is going. Frog lights are good. I think the last thing today, we have one more important journey. And this isn't necessarily having to do with making things less ugly, but rather is the final step, I think, to making sure that we are basically set. We need netherite. Now, in my travels, during my collection of materials, I have come across a bastion. A treasure room bastion that presumably will have the netherite smithing template in it. So we're collecting all of our stuff. We're gonna go raid it. Now I'm a little bit nervous because of I was attacked by one piglin ever, and it scared the shit out of me. So this is gonna be slow. This is gonna be a slow process. We should get some building blocks just in case. This is gonna be a slow process. I know that the sweats, they'll just walk in, take everything they need, and walk out. Not me. This is going to be a careful, calculated endeavor. Safety first. Here we are, I believe. Yes, this is it. Now, the thing that stresses me out the most about this is that there's not really a convenient way in. Like, if we go look at it, it's there's a couple spots, but I generally prefer to take these pretty slow, go from the top and work my way down. And that's mainly because I'm terrified of having the piglins just drop on me. That freaks me out. So I'm thinking fly up, home base, safe, like a little safety nest. Already scared. Okay. So when it comes time to shit, you hide in the box. These things freak me out in the way they're generated, considering because like they can just have little pockets where things can or can't get through. And that freaks me out. I don't like it. And you just hear the noises. Turtling. Scared. Hear them, they're so angry beneath me. Oh. You see, this is what I'm talking about, is that these guys are just like stuck here. Presumably. Oh. Okay, man. Last fucking thing I need is the ghast. Ah, fucking Jesus Christ. Alright. That's a crazy amount of health for one hit in full diamond armor. Jesus. Armor trim, debris. Not the template that I needed. A lot of gilded blackstone. Over here. And there's also like gold in the walls, but I'll get that when I clear it and I feel a little safer. Oh, got their attention. Fall. That might fall on me. I'm gonna also blank. The sound of so many angry piglins below me. I can't see. Can I just cheeky? Yeah. Okay, well, this would work better if I had good functioning aim. And cooked bacon noises while I'm in here is a little bit unnerving. Guys, this is crazy. You're still using this as a functional space. Repair the bridge. This is Minecraft. It's so easy to make these tools. They're all pretty condensed into just a couple spots, which is actually really nice. Because it means that I can just, like, continue my upper turret-based living. I'm absolutely cranking these hogs. I don't think that's the right phrase, but I'm sticking with it for now. Like, look at this. What is going on over here? How do you shut off a magma cube spawner? I actually don't know. Well. Yeah, there we go. I don't have a soul speed, so I'll take soul speed 1 for now. Okay. All in all, mission has been a success. I'm going to do the rest of it because, I mean, why wouldn't I? I mean, look at all that gold down there. I don't have a gold farm yet. I'm stuck extracting it from the earth like my forefathers, as opposed to extracting it from people like the current day. I've actually been like sneaking through here and checking every angle for the past couple of minutes, and it's actually been completely empty for a while. I actually got the last one a little while ago. Oh my fuck. Okay, not going that way. I have been sneaking through this place for several minutes, not realizing that it's actually been completely empty. There's been nothing in here for several minutes. I was being careful and slow and methodical, and it was just several empty moments. You know, it's done now, so I got that going for me. I was hoping to get down soon enough that I could get some of the piglin heads, but I didn't. That's a little bit of a bummer, but can't win them all. How do I turn that thing off? Can you even turn it off, or is it like the blaze spawners where it's like finicky if you even can? No, I'm making a bridge. Making a railing. Okay. Fuck all y'all. See, it's that knockback. I don't want these guys knocking. Oh my god, I'm almost dead. Where's my... Why did I put my beef in my inventory? Why am I like this? Oh. I was gonna say, I thought there was a chest in here. Ingot, another smithing template. The thing is covered in lava. Like, presumably it's not going to be like you just torch it. Right where... No. We're out. Alright, that was a successful mission. This did not take nearly as much time as I imagined it was going to. I guess I'm gonna spend some time just kind of looking around for, like, gilded blackstone or something. Successful? I thought this was gonna kill me for sure. After, like, I've been hit by just, like, regular piglins in so many places, and they took so many chunks of my health. I was like, ooh, this is gonna go fucking poorly. So I figured, I honestly thought I was gonna die once here for the first time. Nope. Completely fine. Nice. Yeah. Oh, this is the other one. Yeah. Now this is definitely a mission. This is a mission success. A lot of gilded blackstone, good stuff. We've got netherite now. Now we just need ancient debris to get the rest of it. I think that will be an off-camera problem, though. Make a little ancient debris farming area. That's gonna be it for this one, I think. I don't know how long this episode has been. So I have a feeling it's gonna be shorter, but it's just because I lost so much footage. But I figured it took a little bit of time to try to get this back together, and didn't want to slow down on the uploads. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Next episode, we engage in beautification. Things are going to stop being ugly and divorced. We will find love of building or something. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, fucking like or subscribe or something. Leave a comment. Bye.